Okay, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting of December 3rd. I'll call this meeting to order. Under presentations, we have none this evening. Could I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda as presented? Councillor Hoffert, seconded by Councillor Moore. Any questions, comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Could I have a motion, please, to adopt the minutes of the council meeting held on November 26th? Councillor Nibs. Seconded by Councillor Frank. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Under original communications, delegations, and petitions, we have the council meeting schedule for 2019. Now, council was able to have this in their possession for a few days. Is there any questions or comments, any changes that you would like to see? If not, we will request a motion to accept. Go ahead, Councillor Nibs and Councillor Moore.
I did one question, just showing we had 2 meetings in August. I thought we usually go 1 meeting in the summer in each month.
1 in July.
1 in July.
Yeah. And as you've noticed as well, Councillor Nibs, we've gone to 1 meeting here for the winter, and then we'll go back to 2. Councillor Moore?
Thank you, Worship. No, I would accept it the way it's set out. And
you'll make the motion?
Yes, I make the motion. And the only thing is we can, if something serious come up, we can always...
That's exactly right. Anyway, we'll make sure to give the press and our TV and everyone proper notice, but yeah, you're right. We can add to that.
Motion.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Nibs. Any further questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under original communications, delegations, and petitions, we have the SUMA 2019 membership fee. What's the wish of council? Usually we approve. Councillor Hoffert?
Acceptance and approval, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Frank. Thank you. Any further questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Under written reports of committees, we have none this evening. Executive reports, we have none this evening. Introduction of bylaws, we have bylaw 2018-2010, solid waste rates, first reading. So could we have a motion for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Nibs. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Moore. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried.
Your Worship, sorry, just to confirm, this will now go out for public consultation.
That's right, for 2 weeks, and then it'll come back to us. That's right. Thank you. Councillor.
I was just going to comment that this is good, and it's nice to see. I know there was some homework done to make sure that we were kind of in line with what other communities have done.
Of like size, yeah, that's correct.
And I'd also like to point out that our landfill is currently not operating at a, well, it's not making us tons and tons of money anyways, so it's not like this is an opportunity for us to make money. This is an opportunity for us to make sure that our landfill is covering its costs anyhow.
Exactly. Thank you, Councillor Frank. City Manager?
Thank you, Worship. Yes, Norm's done a lot of great work on looking at other facilities, and you do have to realize that whatever's not funded by the rates of the users of that is funded by tax dollars, and there continues to be increasing regulation and environmental items relating to landfills. It seems to be a very hot topic that's coming down from the province. So just a note that it is, if it's not funded by the users that use it, it's funded by taxpayers. So that's why the adjustment for the fees would be in place.
Absolutely. Thank you, City Manager. Yes, it's getting more and more onerous to run a landfill. Absolutely true. So next, under introduction of bylaws, we have bylaw 2018-2011, administrative fees for services. Now this has been a long time in getting updated. So again, this is in keeping with other cities of our size that have decided to do, and that is review and update this bylaw. So do we have a motion for first reading? Councillor Vroba.
Short. Sorry, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah. I was just wondering, I see that the child 1 month facility pass and the child daily went up to a 17% increase, which it's only $3.50, but I was just wondering, did we do that with the monthly pass to try and maybe encourage people to buy the 3-month?
City manager, that was probably the intention.
Yeah, that's what I was
Councillor
thinking
Vova?
too. Yeah, because it's quite a good deal. If you have 3 months, it's $83, and 1 month is $45.50.
That's
So
right.
it would encourage them to do that. So, no, that's a good deal.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Was that a motion?
Yes, and I'd make the motion to accept.
Okay, thank you. So we've got motion for first reading of bylaw 2018-2011 to provide for the charging of fees for services provided. Have we got a seconder for that, please? Thank you. Councillor Nibbs. Any further questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Under public hearings and reports, we have none this evening. Giving notice, we have none. Motions from committee this evening, we have none. Considerations of bylaws, none. Inquiries, Councillor Hoffer.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have an inquiry, but a couple comments first, and it's really I just wanted to mention that the generosity of our community and the volunteers in our community are both second to none. And it's been a really busy week with a lot of things going on in our community, and I don't know that there would be anyone who would think there's nothing to do here, because there's almost too much to do sometimes. But the Festival of Trees, the Footloose, were both, Footloose sellout.
Absolutely.
And what an amazing production, and I can't imagine the hours those teachers and volunteers and everyone put into that, and I think all of council attended and would agree. It's what an amazing performance by some of our youth, and the behind the scenes work by the volunteers and everyone else to make that possible was huge. I'm sure Councillor Frank will have something to say about the Festival of Trees, but again, the generosity that makes things possible in this town that isn't always possible elsewhere is just never ceases to amaze me. And carrying forward this week, if you go to the Affinity Place today, it's already a curling rink, and it started being that 24 hours after the festival left there, and I think the curling club had to cut off volunteers. They were coming in so fast, and that's the kind of community we have. And I just really encourage everyone to get out there and support that event, so we can keep having events of that nature in our one-of-a-kind facility. Also, I just wanted to give mention to the Festival of Lights, another thing that's really taking off. And last year we had 11 sites in the inaugural season, and I've just been told that we're up to 25 sites, so we've more than doubled it from last year. So it's really becoming a spectacular event, and it's on the 16th, and there's going to be fireworks in the evening to kick it off, and so just a great thing. And my inquiry is this, with some of these things like the Canada Cup of Curling, economic impact assessment. I believe there's formulas that you can have. I know when they have the agribition, it's not even over, and they've assessed the economic impact of $90 million, for example, I think it was, to their city. And I feel like we should be tracking that. And I think maybe through you and the city manager to our economic development department, Fitz, maybe we could look into doing that. And we could start with the Canada Cup of Curling, and just to see and to share with, what does an event like this mean to our community? It certainly is welcome news for our hotels, for our restaurants, I'm sure for retail. There's people coming from right across the country to these things. It is some of the best curling we will ever see. And it's, when you have a world curling event, there are weak countries in curling. There are no weak curling. This is some of the best curling you will ever lay your eyes on in terms of men and women. And so this is something we need to get out and support. But my inquiry is to do with the economic impact of that, and could we look into that?
Absolutely, we can. Councillor Hoffert, City Manager.
Thank you, Councillor Hofford. We are in the process of that. You can do pre-economic impacts and post. We will be doing a post on this to do that. But we have been looking to, so before these events come out, before we decide on them, we would have a pre-economic impact for other things. So that is happening in the Economic Development Department with Fitz and myself.
That's excellent, and it's great to hear that we are being proactive like that, and, and that our Dev Department is looking into that, so thank you. And similarly, concerts, like could we do a post on the Mellencamp concert, or future concerts coming up? The Western Canada Cup, when we have it here, You have teams from all over Western Canada here, things like that, and just what it means to our community, because it is a factor in events we should be going after. It is, I mean, they still need to work to be economically viable at the gate and make sure they're paying the bills, but there is more to it than that, so thank you.
No, absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Hufford. And yeah, Footloose was tremendous, and I don't know if they have any left, any showings of Footloose. I think it's all over. But yeah, Ivan Wilhelm did a fantastic job, as did Arlene LaFrance. I know the LaFrance family was deeply involved. And the actors and actresses, my God, them kids were absolutely tremendous. So hats off to everybody for all the hard work. And again, the volunteers, as mentioned before, Councillor Hufford, our community is truly blessed. Our volunteers are second to none. And again, the Canada Cup, as you mentioned, not only did we fill the requirement for the volunteers, but they had to pay $100 a piece. So, I mean, and they still showed up to the plate. So absolutely tremendous. Councillor Groba?
Thank you, Your Worship. And yes, Councillor Hoffert and I both will be volunteering at the Canada Cup. So I think I'm there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. And Councillor Hoffert's probably there all 5 days. But I had a few people compliment the city, Norm Mack and the road crews, on the ability to be able to drive after that rain and the icy streets we had. I know when I went to work, I had no problem at all getting to work, and I didn't see anyone really slipping and sliding, so kudos to them, because people are noticing that he's doing a very good job with his crew.
Yeah, thank you. Him and his staff and all our staff are doing a tremendous job. And again, even at Affinity, taking down the glass and getting ready for Canada Cup curling, they all did a tremendous job. Again, along with the volunteers, the curling club executive, all of them working very hard.
Excellent.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Frank?
I just, as Councillor Hofer said, I'd like to thank the community for the generosity they showed at the Festival of Trees this weekend. By far one of our biggest ever, for sure. And we don't have the final numbers yet, but we know it was fantastic. We sold one of our trips for $35,000. We sold all of our trees for over a couple $1,000s a piece. So certainly an amazing event. And thank you to the hundreds of volunteers that came out to help, to all of the generous people who came and supported, and of course to the city crew, to Diane and Dan, who were working tirelessly for us and are now working tirelessly for the Canada Cup. So
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And I know it was a big day for you, Councillor Frank. Thank you for all of your efforts. And I know Councillor Hoffert worked very hard, and his staff at the hospital as well.
Absolutely.
Along with all our staff, did a tremendous job.
now I can finally sleep.
Yep, exactly. Councillor Nibbs?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Moore?
Thank you, Worship. On Saturday, last ringing the bells for the Salvation Army at the co-op, I find it a satisfying and gratifying job to do for a couple of reasons. You get to talk to a lot of the public, and being in the council chair, you get to hear some of the good things that we're doing. And the only thing that I heard a couple times is that we could be doing a better job at keeping our sidewalks cleared after a storm. They weren't picking on the ice, because that's a little tougher time. But they think that we're not doing a good enough job with our bylaw having the sidewalks cleaned. And they didn't mention businesses as much as they did residential. So I think we just need to remind the people that there is a fine in place if you don't keep your sidewalk clear. And it is up to our bylaw officer to maybe push the issue if there's an area that is overlooked. And so I just wanted to mention that to the public, that we have a responsibility, and we should take a look at ourselves when we do have an inch of snow or so, and make sure we get it cleared up, because there's also a liability for the homeowner. And
Absolutely.
so I think that there's a nice way of getting that across. Maybe sometimes we don't get at it as quick as we should, but at the same time, it's our responsibility. So,
Okay, that's a very good point. Thank you, Councillor Moore. City Manager? Anything this evening? City Clerk? Nothing. City Treasurer? Nothing. Okay, again, I just want to mention about the upcoming Canada Cup of Curling. I know the tickets, I understand, have been a bit slow. Hopefully that changes. I think one look at that ice surface and the tremendous amount of work that's gone into that, hopefully we'll have good turnouts. I'm sure we will. And I guess for the volunteers, we've got a couple councillors that are helping out, and much appreciated for that. I guess we'll kick that off tomorrow night.
Yeah, I won't be there, unfortunately.
You won't be there?
Yes, unfortunately, well, fortunately for us, but unfortunately, everything happens on the same evening. So we are hosting the Creighton Lodge Resident Christmas Supper, so we have 180 people coming to the lodge. So unfortunately, I won't be able to come to the volunteer
Okay.
appreciation night, but yes, please have fun without me.
Okay.
I know that's hard to do.
It won't be the same, Councillor Grover, but thank you. Okay, with that, do we have a motion to move into committee? Councillor Knibb, seconded by Councillor Frank. All in favor? Carried. Thank you so much, and good evening.